Hey guys, this is Count OF with another episode of MOCTalks, and it looks like my promotion of him yesterday worked, because you guys gave an overwhelming 15 votes to Gringat, and I didn't even bother checking on everyone else, because unfortunately I'm betting most of them. I don't think anyone else got 15 votes, so Gringat it was, and I'm going to talk about him now, because he is probably the oldest friend that I'm still on very, very good terms with, and like still a great chum, I guess you could say, because I we don't talk a ton, but I always have considered us pretty good friends, and although I also don't think we've ever had any real problems. The biggest I can think of is one time I very tastelessly decapitated him on an old Mock Pages post, and he didn't appreciate that very much, understandably. And by decapitated him, I'm meaning one of my version of his mock at the time. But anyway, let's get off of the old stories. Let's actually talk about. I met Gringat on Mock Pages. My first big interaction with him was when I entered one of his elemental contests. I think it was with he actually had a Christmas contest, and where I entered a mock called Xmastrix, the Toa of Conifer trees, as like a Christmas tree mock joke, and shows how not a ton of people entered because somehow I made placement at second place, and he built my self mock, and he went above and beyond, and he built. Davix and JoJo as well. Actually, I think he only built Davix in addition, which was really cool. JoJo wasn't actually a thing at the time, so I just said JoJo by default because another person I knew on Mock Pages also built the three of them, Overlord Galaxus, who is also a cool guy. But we're not talking about Overlord Galaxus. We're talking about Gringat. So yeah, that was probably my first real big interaction with him, and that was at a time where I just idled building self mocks of if someone built your self mock, it's like they approved of you as a person. It was like some kind of, I feel like that was the thought process of a number of people on Mock Pages. It was definitely mine. I have since completely moved on from that, and I would like to say, because I remember there was a time where I'd be like, "Is my version of me still built? Is it still built? Yes. Stop bothering me." So if you ever do take him apart, please just do it. Don't. It doesn't matter. I feel really embarrassed because there were people who built me that I was like, oh, you gotta keep him built. If you take him apart, it means you don't respect me anymore. It was pretty silly. Yeah, I'm getting a little off topic. Let's talk about the figure. The figure. He originally had a few different tome forms. This is the biggest ironic thing that I always got on other people for taking apart versions of them, and now Gringat, the only form of Gringat that I have is the small version. Sorry, hypocrite much, but okay. I've had a few different versions of him as a Toa, and the first one was pretty terrible. I think the final one that I had was relatively good for me. I could have put more effort into it, but as far as not spending using a ton of pieces, I was really happy with the result. And with the cape, I got some cool poses. I actually kind of got the idea of using the Zerg cape that Gringat uses on his own self mock. I used that on Callan eventually when he switched to gold, and the King Matthias Knight's Kingdom cape didn't work on him anymore. So that's another thing I owe to Gringat. But yeah, as far as this figure goes, this is what I built when I basically went through a bunch of my old self-mock characters and wanted to make mini versions for use in character-based shorts with like a bunch of group characters, like, you know, have a bunch of self-mocks all together, all little guys, so that, you know, they all fit together. This is not a self-mock, by the way. Sorry. But yeah. So I'm kind of talking about a lot of backstory stuff, not much about the mock, even though I keep saying talk about the mock. There's not a ton I really can say. If you want to see how to build this, you can. The video's on this channel. So, but the most important thing I can say about this mock is that The one thing, Gringat, it's annoying because he is one of my closer old friends. A lot of, now in retrospect, a lot of self-mocks that I wasn't able to build back in the day, I can now because I bought a ton of the old Mata and Nuva masks. But not this guy, and you know why? You know why not this guy? It's because he gave him these red fins, the red fins from Onua Mystica, who I never bought. So he's switched from dark red formerly, and now I gave him black ones. So he's got the black fins. But yeah, black fins, baby. That's what he's got. This form also has actually had some slight changes. I for a little while I went for like a half and half translucent scheme where he had half blue. There were blue ones on one side and green on the other. But eventually I just evened it out because I think that looks cooler. It was more me being out of parts the reason that I did that at the time. Not a ton else to say other than he has a bit of dark gray on him. I wish I could kind of remove that. These pieces are impossible. This used to be dark green, but unfortunately I had to take it for Larix, who is going to be in Bionicle Mata. So yeah. But I always really liked this little design because I feel like it's one of the more neat, like really characterized ones where I got to really make kind of like a cool kind of. He looks really thin and agile, and even though he doesn't have the cape, I feel like if it was small enough, you could give it to him, and he'd look pretty much perfect with this size. So yeah, I really like this version of Gringat, and he's a good chum. I think I've covered a lot of stuff, so I think I'm safe to end this now. So thank you very much for watching. As I mentioned yesterday, there is something a little interesting to follow this, so feel free to vote on this and the next video. But the next video will not be a vote one. I will be talking about, because this character has kind of a connection with Gringat. His name is Veneno or Veneno. The pronunciation really doesn't matter. But he was an old mock that I wrote with BRC. Because back in the day, Gringat got me in like a cool thing where we do kind of role play stories, make up our own characters, and this is the character that I made up for a role play story I did with Gringat and a few other people, and so I'm going to have him reviewed tomorrow, and if that somehow doesn't work out this weekend, something or other, just in case there might be complications with this review, just throwing that out there, but. There's going to be a special review. So, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you look forward to the Veneno review, as well as whatever else may come. So, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.